G'day YouTubers, and welcome to another video. I said that this video would be out on the water, and it is, but it didn't turn out quite the way I'd planned. I had planned to go out for an overnighter. I was going to drop the crab pots in the morning really early, check them about midday, check them again just before dark, and go and find myself a nice fishing spot to anchor up for the night, then come back and pick up the pots in the morning. It was a really good plan, except it didn't work out that way. I got called home early, had to pick them up at midday and go home. Never mind, there will be another trip soon. In the meantime, I'll show you how I went on this one. We got a nice early start away from the ramp, not first light yet, but to show you how good the forecast is, it wasn't supposed to rain till this afternoon, and I've no sooner started the boat than it started to rain. So, there you go. Never mind, the fish are wet anyway. It's been a good while since my last crabbing session, so more than enough time for the crabs to have moved. I don't know what depth they're going to be at. I don't know if they've moved to a different area. So the best I could do was start where I'd bagged out a few times in the last few trips, and that was up past Hyber's Beacon. That had been a really productive area for about 3 or 4 crabbing trips. But as I say, it's been a few months since I'd been, so what I had to do was go up, start there, put the pots in at different depths and find out if the crabs were still there and at what depth they were holding. Since it was raining, I was going to prepare the crab pots under cover of the bimini so I didn't get too wet, but I was lucky enough for the rain to stop before I needed to set up the crab pots, so I got them all out without getting wet. Then I continued with the plan to have a bit of a troll around, see if I could pick up some mackerel. I had decided that I'd troll over towards the Hope Banks, past south of that, down towards Lazarette, Peel Basin, and just generally troll around that area and see if I could pick anything up until it was time to go and check the crab pots again. It just popped and then went down again, so I don't know if I got anything on or not, but I better bring it in and have a look. Oh, what do we got? Something is on the end of it. Bloody grinner. So too far back. Alright, get you off. You can be a bit of burley. I trolled all over the place. It was a lovely day out on the water, and I hadn't been out on the water for over a month, so I was happy just to sit there and drive around. Would have liked to have got some mackerel, but it was an overcast day, and I never found that I do very well in trolling on an overcast day. Not with the spoon lures anyway. I think they need the sunlight to flash and attract the fish and entice a bite. Nevertheless, I've caught more mackerel up around the Hope Banks than anywhere else. Not necessarily on the Hope Banks, but close by. Mackerel and bonito, quite a few of them caught up there. I'd say the majority of the ones I've caught trolling have been in that area, although some of the better ones have been down towards the Peel Basin and just north of the Lazarette. But it was around the Hope Banks that I caught the grinner, because I had the line too far back, and I also picked up the bonito, but when I doubled back I couldn't find the school again, so I didn't worry too much about circling around trying to find them. I just kept on going. As I say, really enjoying the time out on the water. Okay, popped up again, so I need to check it. Quite possibly another grinner. Oh yeah, a little mac, one of the two. Bonito, is it? Yep, bonito. He'll do. He'll be bait later on.
Get a little bit more speed on again. I might just turn around and make another swing over that.
Bonito make very good bait, and since this was planned to be an overnight trip, I thought I'd circle back and pick up another one or two so I could use them as cut bait tonight. Whether it's bonito or mackerel or whatever, I've often found that if you circle back where you get one, you might pick up another one or two. Doesn't happen all the time, the school moves around, but sometimes you can get lucky and come back over the school again and get that other bite. Not so much on this occasion. And this is just a little teaser of the time zero screen. As you can see, I'm still setting it up. I had it set up a lot better by the end of the trip than I have at this moment. This is just when I'm starting to figure out how I wanted to view things on it. But what I wanted to demonstrate here is the 3D view. As you can see from the map and the bait symbol in the middle of the map areas, I'm heading down from Harry's towards Peel, and I'm just a bit north of the entrance to the small bait passage. What I want you to see is the 3D view in the lower right quarter of the screen. That's in real time. That's showing me the bottom and all the contours there in 3 dimensions, where the boat is. You know, this sort of technology is just blowing me away. Makes it so much easier to find potential fishing ground, and that's what it's all about. If you can find some new ground that's not getting fished out, then you'll have a good day. And this is the technology that will help you do that. Just incredible what they can do these days, considering my first Furuno, or I should say my father's first Furuno, but I used it more than he did. It was one of the old ones where they had this paper and the stylus spun around over the paper and put marks on it. And now we've got this beautiful 3D view in full colour. It's just amazing. Incredible how technology progresses. I had been using 2 of Mr. Bates' 5 metre trolling boards, but I lost one of them, and I just keep forgetting to get another one when I'm over there. So I managed to find this old Yamashita one that I had on the boat, and I'm putting that out. It's not my trolling rod. I have 2 rods I keep for trolling. Didn't bring one of them this time, so I'm just putting it out on my heavy fishing rod. See how it goes. It was only about 10 minutes after taking this clip that rod got a hit. The action cam had run out of batteries and I didn't hear it beep, but I haven't got the footage, so it must have run out of batteries shortly after this. Anyway, not a trolling rod, and the line was only 40-pound line that I had on it, but it was almost brand new. I'd only had that line out once, but I must have touched the bottom with it somewhere because the line broke shortly after a hookup, and it was a braid that broke. Didn't get bitten off, didn't let go at the knots, the braid actually broke up close to the rod. So there must have been a weak spot in it. And I'll say maybe it touched the reef sometime on the last trip. I'm not sure. But it shouldn't have broken at that strain. I only had 10 pound of drag set on the rod. So 40-pound line, 10 pound of drag, no way that should have broken. But it did. And whatever it was, I lost it. Lost my trolling board, which was an old one anyway. So after that, there was only one trolling board to use. Sailor V.
Notice I've got a safety line on that rod. I wouldn't put it in the rod holder like that without a safety line on it, as you like to lose your rod.
Notice that not only have I got the rod tied to the bait with a safety strap, but I've also got the rod holder tied to the bait with a safety strap. Nothing like belt and braces. I don't want to lose either.
Without my sun out, might not do too well today.
I just threw this shot in from the Furuno. At the mouth of the Lazarette gutter, there's a red buoy, and that buoy marks a shallow rising, call it a pinnacle. It's not shallow enough to damage a trailer boat, but if you've got a bigger boat, you could be in trouble at low tide. Anyway, I've caught some decent fish around that, not right on it, but close to it, within 100 metres of that buoy over the years. So I just thought I'd show you what the bottom looks like there. Of course, I didn't go close enough to the buoy to see the actual top of the mound. We're looking at the side of it, so it does get a bit shallower than what it's showing there. But if you haven't tried fishing around there and you're around that side of the lazarette, it's not a bad idea to try somewhere, as I say, within 100 metres or so of that buoy. Just be aware there's a green zone around Peel on that northern side, and stay clear of that. I think I mentioned at the beginning of the video, which I narrated a couple of days ago, so excuse me for repeating myself, but I think I mentioned that I had to curtail the trip and go home early. So I went back in to pick up the pots, and I'm putting this shot up here from the sonar because this is the only good show of fish that I had the whole trip. I had some shows, but nothing as thick as this. Now, I don't think any of these fish are big. I doubt there's any keepers in them, but if you're just looking for a bit of catch and release fun on light gear, this would have been the spot to do it on this day. Go back there tomorrow, there may be nothing. I've always found around Hybers Light to be a very strange place to fish. There doesn't seem to be any one spot that works on any particular tide. It's just around the light, anywhere within 100 metres of the light, but sometimes you get surprised and get further away, and there the fish are. I got one. He'll be a keeper. There. There's not a legal one. Not a legal buck out of this pot. I think I forgot to put the camera on, but there's nothing in the last pot. And that was the end of the trip. I picked up the pots and I got 4 crabs out of them. The pots were spread out from 2.5 metres depth to 7 metres depth. I hadn't been crabbing for a while, so I had to find out where the crabs were. 2 pots were empty, that was the deepest and the shallowest. The other 2, one had 1 crab in it and the other had 3 crabs in it. So they seem to be sitting around the 5 metre mark, most of the crabs. Next time I go down, I'll be dropping the pots in around that depth and see how I go. They only had maybe 4 or 5 hours of soaking, and that was from daylight onwards. I generally find that I do best on an overnight soak. Hopefully next time I'll get that. But until then, good fishing.